Girl, girl, girl. Okay, so today we are at the KW Live Halloween edition. I saved the best person for the Halloween edition, which is JanJan Untamed. One, I knew that she would have fun with me. Not everybody wants to get on, not everybody wants to dress up. But I knew JanJan would. I knew she would, and I knew she'd be fun and just bring a lot. And she has a vampire book coming out this month. I don't know if you would just call it a typical vampire book because with JanJan, you're not going to get the typical in any motherfucking thing. So let's just say it's going to be an adventure. For now, let me start the intro and then we're going to get in and start the show.
Yeah, we only getting started, but you know I got to bang it. Yeah, we're shooting for the stars, you know you got to aim it. Yeah, this goes out to the ones who doubted. How you gonna see with your eyes so clouded? Look to the sky, feed your mind rerouted. Damn, it's been a long, long day. I done came a long, long way. I've been feeling all kind of restless. Getting to it, what can I say? Soaking up game like a lesson. Spirit too strong, that's a blessing. Rather elevate into outer space. You could go insane, lose your way from the stressing. And I ain't really on that. Gotta take it higher, yeah, we're on that. We will never stop, we'll never fall back. This is that, I need more of that. Gotta take it higher like you're on that. Gonna take it higher, yeah, we're on that. Whoa.
I can hear you screaming on the inside. You gotta let it go, let your mind ride.
Yeah, we only getting started, but you know I got to bang it. Yeah, we're shooting for the stars, you know you got to aim it. Yeah, yeah, this goes out to the
All right, all right, all right, all right. We are here. We are here. We are here. Okay. I'm freaking excited. First of all, JanJan is talking in the stage and only I can hear her and she's hilarious already. So let me bring her. I was going to do a big old intro, but I'm going to bring her on immediately and do the intro while she's talking. Let me bring her on. JanJan Untamed. The name says it all. She is untamed. She's not going to be writing her books when you pick up a JanJan book. For those who don't know, you're not going to get the conventional, the traditional. She's going to take you on a ride. You don't know what the hell is going to happen each page, next page. And one of the things that I love about JanJan the most is that she is about her art. She kind of keeps me in that mind state sometimes. A few times I've called and been like, oh, JanJan, this or that, or whatever about a book. And I'm thinking business side, like, okay, but it will make this and they'll do that. And she always brings it back to me and says, it's about the art, the legacy, what you're putting out there. And so that's one of the main reasons why I love JanJan so much. The second one is she does not give a fuck about anybody, their opinions, their thoughts, or anything like that. And you got to respect a person who motherfucking keeps it real. So hello, Miss JanJan.
Hello, lady. Yeah.
And doesn't JanJan look nice, guys? All right, all right, all right. I met you initially. Okay, hold up. Somebody said, oh, yes, that steampunk look is life. Girl.
All about the steampunk.
That hat, though. Like oh my God, that hat is killing it. And then I like the background. No, it all ties in together for me. It all ties in together. Okay, so I met you in New Orleans. I was following you on Facebook before that, right? And it was initially all your crazy ass statements. You was always saying something. I think you're chiller this 2020 on Facebook. What do you think?
A little bit.
Yeah, 2020, 2019, you would have the craziest statuses. And I would be like, yo, she's fucking crazy. I like that. And so I start following you. We met in New Orleans at the Swirling Big Easy conference, and we just instantly started hanging out. Me, you, Keita was there, so we all kind of just started hanging out and having a blast. Here is this is JanJan at my KW launch party, looking awesome, looking
Remember, I
awesome.
invited myself to your party. That's how we met.
Yes. Well, you at least asked on Messenger. You was like, I know this is weird, it's only, but what is up with that? Why can't I get in? Why can't I come to the party? I was like, JanJan, you could come. I think you did a post like, I'm kind of like feeling some way about authors not being able to come, and I was like, JanJan, you know you could come. You know you could come.
Masquerade? Are you kidding me? A masquerade?
And you was prepared and ready.
Yes, you said masquerade.
Then we was on the street a lot in New Orleans. This is actually you and my sister, because my sister ended up coming maybe like the last day. And me and my sister that night when we were partying with you, we were so drunk. We were like, well, you're my sister now. Like Bianca was telling me, you're now my sister, and we're all family. So we were pretty drunk.
Well,
but I meant it.
Drunk person speaks a sober mind, so
that's right. That's right. And we also did the cruise together too. I should have put pictures of the cruise on there. And then of course this is with us with Keita. Fiora Montgomery, who may be in here tonight, was saying how she loved how all three of us look all nice and innocent when we're like three of the most warped minds in the genre. And I thought that was hilarious. Because Keita is super sweet and nice, but Keita's crazy.
She is.
In her books.
She's the sweetest thing.
So sweet. So sweet. So let's talk about this picture real quick. I just love this picture. The fro. Now, JanJan's hair, in this post, she said, don't make my hair a movement, right?
Yeah.
But I think it is a movement because I feel like most people would cut their hair off, especially when you're in the presence of JanJan and you can you can't just be touching in the hair, but you can see how curly and long and thick. It's good hair. You got some good hair.
It takes some taming. It takes work, I thought that's not a wash and go.
I can well imagine. So let's talk. How are you doing today, first of all?
I'm good. I'm a little nervous. So as we get going, I'll calm down a little bit. So.
That's okay. That is okay. We love you. We are happy to be here. And there's so many questions.
Be here too.
Everybody is loving that steampunk look. Who are you today, by the way? Because I don't have a name for myself.
I'll be Lady Jan, and you be Lady Kenya, or you said Sir Kenya. You hadn't decided on which one.
Okay.
Fire tour, right?
So now, let's go with some of these questions here to get us into it. Brittany Edwards asks, where do you get your information or ideas for books?
Well, I get my ideas from songs, pictures a lot of times. Just current events and the news I see will trigger an idea for a story.
Now, I wonder, that's very similar to me. I wonder, do you think that's an art thing, or is that just an artist thing? Like all artists kind of are inspired by the world.
Yeah, we do. We feed off the universe, we feed off art, other art, like paintings and music and dance, even dance, all that stuff.
What's can you think of anything crazy that has inspired you to write something?
Something crazy.
Yeah, like any song. Global warming. Oh, because wait a minute, would global warming be for day one?
Yeah.
Whoa. So you saw global warming and came up with that plot line.
Yeah. Well, you know how they were talking about scientists were actually did see some sinkholes in the ice caps from where they're melting. And I was like, what if they went down there and
whoa. And something in a whole plot line appeared, basically.
Camera fell down. What if the camera fell down into the hole and they saw a flash of light at the end of it before the camera broke apart? and it made him curious.
Wow. Now, have you ever had a dream that inspired a book or a scene, maybe?
Hmm. Probably.
None come to
But I
mind
do
at this
I do
time.
remember my dreams. I am one of those people like my old man, he doesn't remember his dreams when he wakes up, but I remember mine vividly.
Yeah.
So I think probably in some ways, yeah. But music and art, like The View from the Bottom, I heard a song and it inspired that book.
Oh, wow. What song?
It was Pyramids by Frank Ocean.
Oh my God, I love that song.
Hmm.
And the reason why I love it though is because one, I like really long songs that have almost, it seems like it has three acts to it, you know? And Frank Ocean does that a lot. He has another song, I think it's Nights or something, but it has like a three act where it starts off with this act and it's one way, then the second act is this way, and then yeah. So Pyramids is an excellent. So now, okay, how did it inspire you to write The View from the Bottom?
Well, in the song, like you said, in the last act, we was talking about her working at the pyramid,
Yep.
and that kind of, gave me an idea. I don't know, and then from there, kind of just,
Flowed out, flowed out.
yeah. And then it started. I was like, well, what if I make this a single mother story?
Ooh.
I was
Yeah.
like, well, what if I give her a cut? People like, oh, what if I give her a couple kids?
Mm.
And I said, what if I give her 3 kids? I was like, well, fuck it. I'm gonna give her 4 kids, and let's see, let it ride.
Let's see what happens from there.
Yeah, yeah. But she started with 2. In the original book, she had 2 kids.
Really.
Yes. I was like, fuck that. Fuck that.
Let me pull up The View from the Bottom since we're talking about it. We're here, it is right here. The View from the Bottom. And we have Chastity Annette who said, love The View from the Bottom.
Thank
Love, 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 love it. So good. Hey, Miss Chastity and Trista and Ariel. I see a bunch of y'all in there. So, okay. Well, the next question then would be from Amanda. And before, you know what? I forgot to say, what do you usually think that you write? Because for me, I wouldn't put you in any one genre. I would just say you're a writer.
I
What would
just
you say?
Yeah, I just say that I write graphic fiction or fiction. I'm a fiction author.
I think it would be,
But I'm
because
I'm
you're not
I
exactly just romance.
no,
You're gonna be all types of shit. It's just
yeah.
more like this is the JanJan genre.
Yeah. I just write the stories as they come to me. People said, "Oh, well, if you write different genres, you're supposed to write them under a different name or something or other or this or that." But
Mm-mm.
I just figure
Yeah,
a story is a story.
keep
And
it
people
moving.
who usually are in it for the story. They're not. They know it's not going to be a romance novel. You
Yeah,
don't. There is some. There is love, but it's definitely not a book about
hero meets heroine, gets together, boom, boom, boom,
finding. Yeah,
rainbows.
they're about growth. I like to think my books are
Mhm.
about growth.
Okay, okay.
They're about growth and finding yourself and change and redemption.
Do you like broken characters?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call them all broken because we are all imperfect.
Exactly.
Even people who look like they have their shit together, when you go home, they don't have their shit together. They struggling with
Not at
something.
all.
And,
Everyone
and
struggling with something.
everybody wants to write the front. Let's write about these people. Everybody has these good little lives and
Yeah,
or whatnot or this or that. But let's just keep it real. And love takes work. I've never like people that fall in love over at first sight all the time, but how often does it last? Let's
yeah.
just
And the
how
longer
often does
you're together, it seems like the more work you put in, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Love
Relationships
is,
easy. When you see people who have been together for 20 and 30 years, it's not because they didn't go through some shit.
oh
It's
God,
because
yeah.
it's because they decided to hold hands and work their way through it because they felt it was worth it.
Yeah. And they agreed that I think the biggest agreement is I'm just not going to give up on us.
Right.
We got you. I'd like you to change some things.
Right. Right.
Okay, we have one person who said That's what I love about her book. She doesn't follow any guidelines. All rules are out. That makes you, that separates you from another author, and it makes you stand out.
Well, that's
And
because I liked it. But artists are free with their art, whether it be whatever inspires you. Like a lot
yep.
of things I write are uncomfortable to me. There are things I wouldn't do. This is, but it's
Hmm.
not me. It's not my story. My story.
Oh
I
yeah.
just this is just, and that's my books are not romance novels where people want to put themselves into the place of the heroine, and like, oh, that's my books are about watching these people go through their own lives and walking with them, as opposed to casting my own judgment onto them, and
Hmm.
throwing the story away because they're doing things that I wouldn't do. How you have to step out of your comfort zone in order to grow.
Exactly. We have someone that says, oh, someone told Trista in the group, she said, read it. It is a roller coaster. I think they're talking about A View from the Bottom.
From the bottom. Yeah, it was crazy. It was a pretty crazy book. And then I was like, you know what? Let's make them married.
On top of all that.
Yes.
All right. Oh, look, someone said, hey, I have to stop and say, you two are adorable. Love the ensemble. Thank you very much. It's clear that we like to dress up, and anytime there is an event where we can dress up or do something, we are there, overdressed probably. Like, what's up? Okay, hello.
Such thing as being overdressed, okay? No such
Hey,
thing.
ain't gonna be no calmness with us. It's no soft costume, no soft dressing. Okay, so there's this next question says, we read a lot, and this is from Amanda. We read a lot about the strong Black woman and less about the soft and vulnerable Black woman. Do you feel that there is enough space in romance for that type of heroine, specifically in IR novels?
I just Well, and the thing is, with I do write vulnerable women, and people I do get a lot of, oh, she's so she's weak comments. She's so weak, but it's like Black women, we're not allowed to be vulnerable.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
We're not allowed to
And
be vulnerable. People expect us to be strong all the time,
all the time, all the time.
every single freaking minute of the day. It is, but this is the thing that gets me is when
Mhm.
they read a vulnerable book about a white woman. It's, oh,
It's A-okay.
yeah, she's a vulnerable, she's soft, she's delicate. But when they read a book about a vulnerable Black woman, oh, she's weak. She's this, she's that, and because I'm not personally, I'm not vulnerable. I
Yeah,
wouldn't, because I was not allowed that luxury of being vulnerable, and I don't mind writing heroines who who are vulnerable.
yeah.
Because, like I said, that's me stepping outside of my comfort zone, writing these
And
vulnerable
escaping,
people.
because writers need to escape just as much as the reader does. And we like to
Yeah.
step into different shoes and experience different ways. And so sometimes it is good to write a character where she kind of does the opposite of what you would do, and just to kind of explore that and see what that path is about. So I get that. Now, the other one she said, though, do you feel that okay, no, we did that. Do you feel that readers associate this vulnerable heroine as a super weak person?
They do.
Yeah.
We're not, like we're not allowed to be vulnerable,
Do
and
you think,
especially, and a
and see
lot of it
that,
is people casting their own judgment onto other
there we go.
people.
Yeah,
Judging them what they're doing against what they would do. Versus what they would do.
that makes sense.
Everyone is not going to do what you are going to do.
Yeah,
That's not what life is about. We're all different. And that's another why I enjoy writing those, because there are a lot of vulnerable women out there who are scared to admit that they're vulnerable and scared to admit they made some mistakes, and they can
yep.
read parts of my book, maybe not all of them and everything, but they can read some, and say,
And
well,
relate, find some sort of connection with the character,
yeah,
right? And maybe learn a lesson with how she dealt with whatever, how she was
right.
able to come out of her shell. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so now someone had a question in the chat. Let's see. And I still think this person is talking about View from the Bottom, but I'm not sure. I said, why did you not go in depth about the sister's death? And I'm going to pull myself out while you answer this.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
Mostly because I don't know, it was truly story, and I don't know, I didn't want to make her like a too big of a character. I don't suppose, you
That
know,
makes sense.
truly story,
Do you think you'll ever
and there
go
was so
into?
much going on already.
Well, it's interesting how you can have a big book with all these different plot lines and different things happening, and certain readers will kind of connect to a secondary character or somebody, a real small area.
I
And you're like, I wasn't even thinking about that deeply.
right, right, but you know, a lot of it is that it wasn't her. Just like someone, when I tried to shop the book to a publisher, they
Hmm.
wanted to put the sister on the cover. You know, it's not her book.
Somebody said, "Preach, Jan Jan, preach."
Put the sister on the cover. Like, it's not the sister story.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the truth.
they wanted to change all kinds of stuff about my. They want to change this. They want to change that. And I think, and I'm kind of, I'm not. What is it? What is what I'm looking for? Obsessive about,
Yeah,
little change.
well, you need to
People
be.
start trying to change the character's color
Oh
and
God, yeah.
hair and
I mean, I like a lot of control in my stories, and I do think that's why a person who self-publishes a lot um, likes the control. You know, you don't want too many people touching and messing with the storyline, the plot line. You
yeah,
have a view of the concept, the cover, even maybe the way
mhm,
the chapter headings look. Everything needs to be exactly the way you need it to be, and so
right.
that's why self-publishing is good because it gives you a lot of control.
It is. Even with the covers, even with my book covers, I do. I like to pick out the pictures myself.
Yeah. I'm
I like to.
shocked that you tried going for publishing because I could just see you cursing out a publisher all the damn time. Hell no,
Not at
fuck no,
all.
I ain't doing this.
No. And another thing is like they'll be trying to have me like on the timelines and stuff like that, and I
Mhm.
don't write like that. I don't
So we
write
have
like that.
we have someone saying, Jan Jan, you always kill it with the steampunk wear. Yes, yes, yes. All right, here we have another person. She said, I love all the circumstances and struggles that your female characters go through and reading through their journeys. That's the whole point. That's the
Yeah,
whole point of writing.
that right there. It's supposed to. I write for escapism.
Yeah,
I write to take you away from whatever. To take you. Put you in the place of not in their place, but
of course.
yeah, I write for them. Yeah.
Chastity Annette said, I love the journey your couples go on. And then someone else said, true sister deserve that death tenfold. Okay, okay, I see. Someone said, keep your stories exactly the way you write it. It's what make you you. I love the energy in here tonight, guys. That's what
yeah,
I'm talking about. Thank you, thank
yeah.
you, thank you. All right, we have Scarlett James who asked you a question.
Because today I write for us. I write
Yeah.
stories, swashbuckling tales for us. I grew up reading about the pirate rescuing the nice white lady. You know, and I have no offense. No, but seriously, a lot of us grew up reading those swashbuckling tales
Yes.
about women that did not look like us.
All
You
the
know,
time. I was a big V.C. Andrews person and a Stephen King and all types of stuff.
yeah,
It
the
was a
Fabio
lot of
books.
books.
Come on, the Fabio books and
Come
Fabio books.
on. It was a
I
lot of
was
books that
reading.
had no
Okay.
sisters. Not a sister in it at all. Not a sister maid. No black
No.
no black people in the book at all. And we were supposed to be okay with that. We was fine though. We was escaping. That is what
Yeah.
upsets me about the argument with the publishing industry and kind of discussions that I've had with notable editors of big publishing houses where they always say, black women don't read or a white female reader doesn't want to read about a black heroine. And I was like, that's bullshit. All of that is bullshit. That's bullshit.
But they really
The
don't talk about
publishers just don't want to
it.
put that shit out.
See, that's the thing is, we'll read about anybody because we're in it for the story. But
Thank you.
honestly, when you sit down and think about it, a lot of people don't want to read about black women. They don't.
Oh no, they do though. It's a
I
lot of
mean,
people that do.
but
They
the
want.
majority that don't. Like some of these groups
Mhm.
I've been in, and these people have literally been saying, "Well, I'm not going to search out a book and read it just because there's a black person in it." People ask them like, "Well, how many books have you read with?" Well, I'm not gonna. That's their excuse. I'm not gonna just
I think
for the
that this year, I feel like every year since the beginning, I started interracial romance or any form of romance, because I start off as urban fantasy, but the more I'm into it, the more I'm getting white readers. And I think more white readers are reading our books, if that makes any sense. When the books are just being raved and raved and like you'll probably be, because you got white readers. You know that,
I
right?
do.
Yeah. So it's like they're out there, but yeah, sure, there are a bunch of other ones who are vocal about I'm not gonna read,
Right.
so that's
I
true.
mean,
So
will read anybody's book. I know because I read. If it was a good story, I was always in it for the story. I
hello.
even from like infancy when I started my love of books, it was because of the story. Like my favorite books are not the best, are not the most artistic books, but I
Yeah.
love that fucking story to death.
Hey, break it down. Someone says stay true to your vision. Um, okay, we have someone that says this is smart. Oh, Trista's saying this is smart advice. And Trista's writing now too, so that's good. And I just saw it. Trista said, can you look like George Washington's The Black Swan? You got it.
Shots
That's what I was
fired.
going for.
Fired.
And George Washington might have raped Black Swan. So I mean, this is the product right here. This is the product.
Right, right.
Okay, let me see where we at. Okay, Michelle Flowers. Sorry I'm late. I'm not sure if this question was asked, but will Eldred get his story?
I'm not sure. I don't have any plans to write it. I just kind of write the stories as they come to me. Who knows what'll happen in the future? But as of right now, no, I don't have a story.
It's what comes when it comes. Maybe in a couple months or a year from
Right.
now or 3 years.
Yeah, or he might pop up in another person's book. But
Yeah,
I know I don't know, maybe I take it, I don't know, I just write it as the story tells me what to write and that's what I write. And I
just
know that
let it flow. I struggled a long time with trying to write this particular thing or this particular thing or that, or maybe getting a particular book out at this time. Because everybody wants this book now. That shit doesn't work. The times when I would force myself to write a book, to me, that book would be ass. Just complete and utter ass. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not writing it in the moment when you want to, when it comes to you, when you're feeling it deep within your soul, then the book's going to be trash. So it's like, you gotta let authors do what they do, because I mean, then that's how you're gonna get that great motherfucking experience.
Right.
Let them take their time. Okay, so Scarlett James said, JanJan, what are your thoughts when you are creating your love scenes? Your sexist scenes.
I don't know. I just demand. I don't. I definitely am. It's a mission to make sure that the reader has some sort of I guess arousal if they're going to be reading a love scene.
Mhm. Do you play music? Are you sipping
Like
some wine, lighting candles?
love scenes. Oh no, I'll just just write right through it, just like writing any other scene. I
Okay,
listen to
okay.
the same music. I listen to the same playlist. It doesn't really matter. Like it all depends. If I'm writing an emotional scene, I might
Mhm.
put on some emotional music that might have me in my feelings. But
Who are some of you mentioned Frank Ocean's Pyramids. Who are some of your other musicians that you might run to sometimes and listen to?
I like Stevie Wonder. I
Wow.
I like I know I talk about James Blake.
Okay, okay.
A lot of like Sir.
I like Sir a lot.
Uh,
Yeah, I
I
play a little Sir. Um, I'm
There's
shocked
so
with Stevie Wonder because I mean, first of all, Stevie Wonder is an excellent writer, and so it's not that
right.
he don't deserve it. I'm shocked that that's one of your go-tos, though. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Very artsy. I think it's good when you're writing. It's good to play music of people who really took their music seriously and really was experimental.
About the art.
Yeah, because I feel like it spills on you a little as you're writing. I'd like to think so.
Like Sabrina Claudio. I listened to a little Sabrina Claudio.
Okay, okay.
Well, and believe it or not, sometimes I'll take it back to what's her name? Shirley Murdoch,
Oh, whoa. Okay,
Azulay, the
all right.
one.
I wonder what you writing when you're playing Shirley Murdoch. That's some shit is going down in that book at that moment. Now,
Right.
somebody said they started off with Sweet Valley High. I remember Sweet Valley High.
Me
I
too,
remember that.
Jessica and Elizabeth. More of a white lady book than not so much. Jessica and Elizabeth, and not a color person in the gang.
Not
Okay.
one feeble. No, no. Chastity, Chastity says she started with historicals. Wow, I didn't start with it. It took me a minute to get in historicals.
Let me tell you, I was reading those 5-year books in like the 6th or 7th grade. It's probably why I write the shit I do now, you know?
Yeah, I thought, yeah, I was reading, and it's funny because anything my mother would buy or read. So, like, what's that book? I think it was 6 weeks or whatever, that erotica. She had that book. It was 6 weeks or 12 weeks. It was a certain amount of week, 9 weeks. And she had that book, and I remember going, "Ooh, this is a lot of sex in this book." And I would always sneak in her room and steal a book, and then go and read it. And so I had a great education from that. Okay, the chat room is going off. Let me see what's going on in here.
And the Color Purple. I stole her copy of the Color Purple. She told me I
Whoa.
read it, so I stole it and read it and put it back.
Boy, was that different from the movie. I
Yeah, it
mean, not
was. Well,
completely different, but it was,
it was completely different.
woo.
It was nothing like the. I mean, the movie was good. I loved the movie, but it was different from the book. Much different. The
So
book is
Michelle
really.
Flowers has a question. She said, "What made you have Jack submit to Darby?"
I guess I don't know. I wanted to take him out of his comfort zone. He felt like Darby was deserving. Maybe he earned it. Did.
Here we have, oh, please say you'll let us experience another one of your stories by a release coming soon. Pretty please with the cherry on top. Well, you know what? That's
Absolutely.
kind of getting us. Let me find these covers real quick because we have
Absolutely.
Fix. Should we get into Fix right now?
We can talk about Fix right now if you like.
Because Jan gets me excited about Fix I called her a few times and well, before we get into Fix, let me get some of these questions out of the way. Okay, no, we're not going there yet because we're talking about specific book things. So let's talk about Fix real quick because I think my understanding from your release schedule, Fix will probably come before Blood Slave book, right?
Yes, Fix is next.
And when you explained Fix to me, I was flipping some eggs, and I was like, "Ooh, this sounds good." So tell my people a little bit about Fix.
Well, I don't like to do spoilers. I like for it to be a surprise, but I will say that it's definitely going to take us on a journey. I say that all the time, but they do. But the books do take you on a journey.
Now you gotta say a little tiny bit more without
Okay.
saying too much. Just at
Okay.
least why?
Okay.
Because I
Okay.
want to give things away, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna shut up.
Well, Fix is about, again, I should just tell the story, right? Just say
Well,
this.
you don't have to tell the whole story, but just a little bit, some of the little, because I I see. I can see the sentences in my head. Just don't
Okay,
do
well,
the.
let's just start like this. They meet at an AA meeting, okay? And
Okay.
he originally says he's going to be her sponsor, but things
Do happen. And but what I like about the title and this and what you told me about the story is there's some addiction problems going on.
right,
And that fix kind of think I think of that, but then
right,
I think the title explores a lot of other definitions of that.
right,
I'm saying that without giving away too much, right?
exactly. Yes,
Whew.
it's not about
It sounds good though.
right. It's not about that kind of fix. It's about you know something's getting fixed, but lots of things get fixed in this book.
And how many pages do you think is fixed?
Mm, like they usually translate differently because
Mhm.
when I'm writing it and I look down at my page count and it might say this many hundred and then it'd be like 1,000 on Amazon. But it's over 400 pages, close to 500
Ooh,
pages.
so it's gonna be a nice
Yeah,
journey.
400 and 500 pages, but it is a beautiful book. It's a beautiful story. I know I say that about them all, but if I didn't feel like that, then I probably wouldn't want to share it, you know?
But you were excited though. Your enthusiasm on the phone, it was two times, I think, because you were revising it. Your excitement about it and you're telling me about it made me excited too. And it's so much fun when the author is excited about the book and going crazy. Like, nothing can it's almost like right now I have a book that's just sent out. I just went over the edits, sent it to the second editor. But for me, and it's like from my Russian Mafia series, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait. Oh my God, the heads are gonna explode. Oh my God. So like, do you feel that with Fix? Are you like, oh my God, this is gonna be so good. They're
Well,
gonna
you
fucking
know
go
what?
crazy.
I actually like I feel like that inside. I feel like oh my gosh, I love this story, but I don't. But I definitely worried. I mean, I definitely think well, there's people who are. There's always somebody who's not gonna like it, but I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's all because I'm in love with the characters. I'm in love with the story. I'm in love with their journey. I'm by the time I'm knee deep in here with these people. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
that's the high I get from writing is being able to just yeah.
Now your next book that's coming out this month also. So guys, you're gonna get two JanJan books this month. So October is gonna be on fire. I just hope everybody has their little mind together. The reimagining of a blood slave. Me personally, that cover is fucking insane. The red, the gold, it to me it's just beautiful. First of all, what made you come up with this cover?
I again I was just I like creative control. I write down to the like you said I picked the I loved it. When I look at it, I think of it's going to be dark, it's going to be bloody, but it's going to be beautiful.
Yes. What
And it's
came first, the cover or the book? Like, did this
um,
image inspire?
no the story came first, and
Okay.
then the cover. So the story did inspire the cover.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the reimagining of a blood slave.
The reimagining of a blood slave is it's a dark well it's I'd want to say dirty book, but it is definitely an erotic story, and it's about a pure blood vampire who and his blood slave. And again, it's dark, it's bloody.
And this
I
is a
don't like to use
character.
words like dark because they're a little cliche, you know what I mean? But it is like a what's the it is though. It delves into some pretty disturbing situations, and it's definitely not for the faint of heart. So people who did not like Jax or Wild or what or Darby was the Bastard and the Bird. If you did not like those stories, then I would definitely not recommend the reimagining of a blood slave because it is more erotic probably than those, far more. So
And when you said too that this character is from the Butcher, which book is it
yeah,
from?
The Butcher of Beaumont. She had
That's
a
right.
small, teeny, tiny part.
Tiny Roll.
Butcher of Beaumont, a little, but her character even spoke to me even then. So I kept her on the back burner. That's how it is sometimes. Like
Yeah.
certain characters will, and she was like a blood slave in that story. She was totally submissive.
Whoa.
Was Yeah, and in this story, she's a submissive. So people who didn't like don't like reading about submissive or the vulnerable characters will definitely not want to.
I mean, the stuff you told me about in this book, I was like, oh shit. For this book, out of the two, out of Fix and the Reimagining of a Blood Slave, I think, oh, well, no, I'd say both, but I think this will be a love it or hate it book. And I like love it or hate it books because these are the books that kind of become controversial. These are the books that have
Oh,
people like,
controversial. That's the Devil's Whore. That story is going to send out the
but these are
there's
the type of stories where
forks.
the readers are like two readers, two friends are gonna be like, "Girl, and but girl, did you see that part? Girl, what about this? Well, I don't know how I feel about that one. Girl, I thought this like a book where you can go back and forth and discuss for days, years, maybe even a while. Those are the love it or hate it books, and I think those are my favorite authors to read because you don't fucking know what's gonna happen.
Right, and that's me. That's funny you should say that. People either like
Yeah.
usually love me or they really not into me.
You don't want to be the middle author. The middle author to me is boring, because they can please both sides. Either you love my ass a whole lot or you really fucking hate me, or you love hating me, which is even better. And
And
you
that's
can't deal with it.
yeah. I'm not. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie though. I do write some pretty offensive things. I do. It's not. I don't know. I don't know why. Just comes out like
So we have let me get some stuff from the group here. In the book, The View from the Bottom, if Bannon is such an astute billionaire, why did he stay in such an unhappy marriage for so long? I'm gonna bring up
well,
Barry real quick.
because people with money, they usually marry people with money, and they stay married to. A lot of times, it's about family honor and all that good stuff. And they stay married. They especially if the marriage is arranged between the families. Like
Mhm. Now, someone said, JanJan, you are new to me. Which book should I read first?
um, it depending if you like historical novels, I would start with The Magnificent Miss Broadway. If
Oh,
you
okay.
and
I've
if you
got that at the house right now.
Yeah, and if you like modern contemporary, I would probably like read The View from the Bottom. And if you like your books a little bit dirty, I would definitely start with Jackson Wild.
Ooh, would you say Jackson Wild is your nastiest book?
The Reimagining of a Blood Slave is my most erotic novel.
Ooh.
It
Okay,
is.
are we gonna have some well, I can't, that's a spoiler. I'm just gonna
No,
ask.
ask me.
Are we
Reimagine.
gonna
Yeah,
have
we can talk about that all day.
some fangs sucking from the penis or something like that?
Like things.
Fangs going in the penis and drinking blood out of
Oh,
something?
yeah, I don't think I have the blood sucking out of the penis yet, but
All right,
I'll
all
make
right, all right.
I'll make a note, okay?
Let's see. Trista said Beverly. I think that probably was Beverly Jenkins was her favorite as a kid. Here's Michelle Flowers. She said, "Thank you for the length of your books. So much detail. I don't think you have anything less than 500 to 600 pages." Hey,
Right,
that's
right.
good. And then Ariel said, "I used to sneak and read my mom's Zane books." Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
too. But Zane came out. Zane was a little
A
bit
little bit
later,
later.
like back in the days when we barely had dolls for us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they a little bit. I remember like reading a Roll of Thunder, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and I was so happy when I found that book. And it was like a great story, though.
Somebody said, oh, they said I think they said they used to read Zane too, between the pages of my Bible at church. God forgive me. Hey, God knew why. God knew church was a little bit
Hey,
boring.
I grew up in the church. I grew up in the church too, faithfully. I
Yeah,
was in church every week.
all day. I was on
And,
the choir. I was a little usher girl.
right. I used to direct the choir. I used to say my little Easter speeches, my little
Oh,
Christmas.
I love. Someone talked about the coldest winter ever. I love that book.
I liked it too. I read like half of it.
I
I'll
loved it.
go back and finish. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like lately, when I used to just write I used to read a lot. I haven't read a book in probably years at this point.
Yes, 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 yes. It's been. I read more in the past 3 or 4 years. I have read more nonfiction than fiction. Like
Yeah.
I read exorbitant amounts of nonfiction now because I'm
Yeah.
either constantly researching something for a book or whatever, or I'm researching something about my life. But I don't read, and I think you talked about this with me one time, where it's like I definitely don't read many times in the genre because you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to grab an idea because we kind of do that unintentionally. We're like, you know what I'm saying? If you're reading a series for a long time and then you start writing and you both are writing that same exact kind of thing, it can be kind of touchy to,
Bleeds. It can bleed into
lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I've been kind of not, I don't venture too much into IR as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And same with romance either. So, yeah, lots of nonfiction.
Well, when I
Um,
read a lot of science fiction, like you said, like Stephen King is my
oh,
go-to
that's
guy.
amazing right there. Yeah.
I love Stephen King. I read Stephen King or I have a habit of reading books I've already read 20 times, like my favorite
Yeah.
book,
Oh,
as
yeah.
opposed to reading a new story.
I love Stephen King. That's what I was reading Stephen King as a kid too. And I always kind of go back to him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, Michelle was saying that she reads your books to Nina Simone. I could see that. I think that's an honor right there because I love me some Nina Simone.
Wow.
All right, we have someone who stole Sydney Sheldon novels from their aunt. My aunt would do that too. Yes. Okay, let's see.
Koontz. I read Dean Koontz too back in the
Yes, I used to read Dean Koontz. Awesome. Let's see. Ariel said that fix sounds good. Trust me, guys. When I listen, fix to me is gonna be dope as hell. I think that everyone has to grab fix. It's gonna be really good because from what she was breaking down to me and explaining, and it was only a 5-10 minute breakdown, and still I knew that there was a lot more layers to the story, and there's definitely a lot of I think I would call it more of a, how do I say, what character story? You know how when you look at a movie and it's either action or sci-fi, but then you have the character stories where you're following the characters and you're watching them go from here to like here. It's like a full character arc. I think your book, both characters are going to go through a serious journey.
they are. They are. And one more than the other. The one you think is the one that's, needs the most help is actually the one who does the most helping in the
There we
story.
go.
Yeah,
I was going to kind of say that, but I didn't, I left it alone.
it is.
Michelle said, I love how I don't know what it's about before I read your books. Yeah, yeah.
I like for it to be a surprise, and it's usually a pretty good surprise, so far.
And Michelle said, honey, take all my damn money. All right, let's get into some of these. Let me get some more of these comments because this been yapping on here, and that's cool. Let's see. Yes, Chastity said, bring on the erotica.
Oh
He
yeah, the
wants to
reading
know,
of a blood slave is definitely a book for me.
Nash.
Yeah,
She said, is there going to be any MM in your new vampire story?
of course, of course. And I'm even thinking of like maybe even doing a like a little spin-off of like it's just
Hmm.
an idea for now, but just some shorts of like his experiences before he meets her,
Oh
because
wow.
he's pretty like he's like one of the oldest purebloods, like so he's pretty, what I don't want to. He does what the fuck he wants to do, and
So
who,
the MM question's interesting. Do you put a lot of MM in your books?
um, depending on the book, yes, not all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but my vampire novels sometimes will definitely delve into. I mean, these people will have been as old as you say they are. Nighttime, come on, they
I've been
especially
doing
Jack.
some things.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
look at history itself. Because it wasn't considered a terrible thing until Christianity came about, and then all
yeah,
of a sudden it was a sin. Before Christianity, it wasn't considered.
as bad.
It was sex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We have another question. Will Jack and Darby make an appearance? Fuck, more erotic than Bastard and the Bird. Holy shit.
Your
Will
bastard
Jack
and the
and
bird.
Darby make an appearance?
I don't. I can say yes that you will probably see, but it's still small. Fleetingly, but you will probably see Jack again.
All right, all right. Let's see. What is this? Okay, Michelle is saying, wish you could sign a Bastard and the Bird. One day, Michelle, when we have a conference or when we go to one, yes.
Yes. I love the bastard and the bird. I
Yeah.
love that story. Yes. I say that about them all, don't I? I love them all. I love them. And people
Christine
would be
said,
surprised if I told them. Okay.
she said, I absolutely love the length of the books. Please don't change that. I just get saddened and a little anxiety when I'm coming to the end. I can
Oh,
definitely
that's
see that.
wow. That's how I feel too sometimes when it's time to end. It's
Yeah.
time to let the story.
All right, she's gonna be ready. Okay, let's get back into these questions that were submitted in there. Tori Pruitt said, when your characters come to you for your books, do you allow them to tell the story, or does the story simply reveal itself without the help of the characters?
I definitely let the characters tell the story. If I want to tell my story, I write an autobiography, or a biography. Oh, I write a biography. I definitely let the characters, and sometimes I know what people not gonna like this, people not gonna like it. But when I think about, I don't, I consider it, and then I just do what my heart tells me to do.
Tell you what a motherfucker do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know, are you like do you outline the book? Like, are you a plotter or a pantser? You just let
I'm
it
a
flow?
I'm a pantser. I let it go, let it flow. I have a notebook and a pen. Sit
Yeah.
down, put headphones on, and just go. And I
Flow.
think at the same time, that's why it takes so long. Because you don't know.
Mm, yeah.
You have to like. I'm walking along with these characters.
Trying to figure it out. Do you
Hmm.
ever, when you're in the shower or when you're laying in bed, think about possible scenes that you're going to write tomorrow?
Um. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about writing. Like, sadly, even if I think about writing all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other writers can relate to that, but I think sometimes you'll be having dinner with the kids and thinking about a new story or an old story or the story you're
Yes.
writing. Absolutely,
It never stops.
yes.
It never stops.
But the good
Even,
thing, I never get writer's block either, though. Like I never don't know what I'm going to write next.
yeah.
I
But
always have
look,
some.
I had writer's block like right at the end of my marriage when it all kind of went crazy in that year of just hysteria. I couldn't write, but the books were still in my head.
Hmm.
It was a very horrific experience of just not being able to write it down,
Hmm.
freezing, but like it constantly going on in your mind. And now with you, are you at the point, because this is something I struggle with I got 4 or 5 books in my head, but I can only write like this
Yes,
amount of, yeah,
yes.
like it's like
Writing
am I gonna ever catch up with all the stories in my head?
right.
That's my biggest battle.
So many stories, like my Dirty White Boy story. I got
Yeah,
like what pages of that done. I have to go back to it. And it's not, some people will say, well, I'm just going to write this because it's here, but I write what's talking to me.
yeah,
Whatever story talking, because I was like at the end of reimagining of a blood slave, and I just Fix was just in my head, so I stopped and I wrote it, and I
you
went
got to.
back. Yeah,
You were excited about because you are you working on the Devil's Hoard now? This is a
I
by
am.
the way, guys, this is a
Yeah,
whole nother manuscript coming out soon. Cause you were going crazy. You was like, "Oh my God, I'm almost done with what were you doing? Fix." I think you were writing
yeah.
like the last chapter. And he was like, "Oh my God, when I get to the Devil's Hoard, this is gonna be good. I can't wait." And you're telling me about that shit, and I was like, "I don't know, Jen. Jen. Some people are gonna go fucking crazy. Some people are gonna
It
be like,
is.
what?"
Yeah, it's offensive. It's an offensive.
We
Yeah,
might have to
people.
do a book
It's
review.
gonna be one of those books where people are gonna say, "I had to put it aside." They're either gonna put it aside in the first chapter, or they're gonna battle through it, and they're gonna, not necessarily enjoy the story, but they're going to take something away from it. Like it's not an enjoyable story. I mean, it's well, I'm not
There's
gonna say, yeah,
there's some
I'm not
enjoyment.
saying it's a bad book. Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, because there's rough things that you can look at, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh my God, and it's a visceral experience. Like is that probably what the biggest thing is going to be? They're going to be involved in that story, and it's a rough time.
It's a rough situation and it's a rough time, and I kept it real. I kept it all the way real. I didn't sugarcoat it, try to make it seem romantic or anything. I just told it how it was, or how the characters told me to tell it.
Now, Trista asked, have you ever had a book idea pop into your head while driving?
I have book ideas pop into my head. Yes.
All the time. We were just kind
Grocery
of saying that
store.
too.
Yes. I have a notebook of stuff written down.
So Christine said, "You got us hooked with the samples of the besties. Will we get that story as well?"
And Besties is on the list. It's one of the books on the list to finish.
That's one of the books in your head right now.
No, no, I wrote it on. See, this is the thing about Besties, because it takes me a while to write a book. I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie, it does. So I figured I'm gonna do this little project on Wattpad where I publish like a chapter a week.
Oh, I
While
want to do that.
while I'm writing the book, like published like just some story I was making up as I was going along with the. But then it got
Yeah.
carried away. It was supposed to be like 50 pages or something, and it got carried away. It wasn't supposed to be that long, and it turned into like 160 something. And I was writing it while I was writing the Butcher of Beaumont, and it kind of.
See, I really, really want to do one of those types of like submit a chapter a week type of
Mhm.
things. I would just get nervous that because sometimes I can just like lose interest by like I can write Act 1 and then when it's getting into the middle of Act 2 I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to write this anymore. I'm going to write this book now." So I'm afraid to do that when submitting, the chapters. I guess I'd have to write the whole thing and then submit once a week. But I really want to do a episodic type of story one day.
And I don't like the Russia ending. I could have
Yeah.
just thrown an ending up on there and called it a book, but I want to go through and make the story the way. If I'm gonna like share the story, I'm gonna do it right.
So is the besties available right now though on Wattpad?
Yeah, it's on Wattpad. Yeah, it's
And
on
what
Wattpad
is the
right now.
besties about? Just for the people who might want to go over there and check it out.
It's a paranormal novel, vampires, kind
Ooh.
little reincarnation stuff. I love reincarnation stories. I have a
Yeah.
lot of that in my people coming
Okay.
back and finding stuff.
I
Yeah.
love it. All right, I'm gonna try and find it and put that in the group. Put that link in the group. Um, this is for both of you. How do you get the story from your mind to the paper?
I just I don't know. I guess I go into my little zone and just let my mind go free and just type. Turn my little, yeah.
the the first chapters, like the prologue and the chapter one, to me, can be the most difficult. After that, it's pretty much like just write that motherfucker. Do you have difficulty with the prologue? Are you difficult with writing the beginning or the end? Like, are there any moments in the book that are hard to push through for every book?
You know, the hardest thing to push through with the book for me are pretty much the things that make me uncomfortable or the things I write that hurt me. You know,
Yeah.
part. Yeah, that's the only. But I put but not like no. There's not a particular the beginning or the end or the.
So Christine said, bring on the offensive. Bring it all on. A lot of people love it. They want an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle said, the more offensive, the better. It's what I love most about your books. It's like no fucks given. You allow my mind to explore outside societal norms. Thank you, Miss Michelle. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wives with kids and stuff, we
Mhm.
just want to escape sometimes, and we want to be taking places we've never been before.
That makes sense. All right, we have if you could bring any character to life, who would it be and why?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. And you know what? I would probably bring Darby Goodnight to life and keep him hostage for the weekend.
Okay, okay, okay. And so what would y'all be doing? Oh, having a little bit of fun over there.
What'd you say?
I said, would you be having a little bit of fun with Mr. Darby?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. All the time. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Brittany Smith submitted a question. She said, what made you combine horror and romance?
Well, which book is horror?
She
Is
didn't say
scary.
which book this was.
The
Hmm.
scary.
Have you have you done a lot of books with horror and romance? Which ones have you really
You know what?
explored?
I didn't mean for it to be a horror story. Like I did get people who said that the Doomsday Papers was a little bit scary.
Okay, let's
But
pull that
yeah,
up.
I didn't mean for it to be scary. Yeah. And isn't
Now,
it funny? I wrote that book what like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and
and
now
here we
here we
go.
are. Here we are.
Now, for those who have not read the Doomsday Papers, tell everybody what that's about.
Well, okay, the Doomsday Papers is basically about a virus that affects the world, and this story is about Dumani Dare, and she lives in this sect of these like religious fanatics who live away from society anyway, so they weren't really they're like so their cluster was not really affected by the virus like the outside, and this is basically just their story of I won't say survival, but something happens and they have to take a you know me, I'm always taking people on journeys. Well, something happens. You know me, you're going somewhere. Okay, you read my book, you're going. Your ass is
You
going
going
somewhere.
somewhere?
Yeah. And it was basically about her and her. The story is about her living in this sect that
Okay.
just happened to be going through this pandemic.
And here we go. Here we go. You might have wrote the pandemic. No, I'm just saying.
That's so funny. I jinx. Yeah, right.
It's crazy how when we were in New Orleans, we was having fun and we were on a cruise and we was having fun and we had no idea. Had we
No.
known what this was going to be about, we might have partied even more. I felt like we partied a lot. We were drinking, having fun,
Yeah.
but I think we would have partied even more had we known what was going on.
Right.
Um,
Definitely.
Crystal Parton said, well, we kind of talked about this. She said, where do you get your inspiration for stories? But we can ask, she had two other questions. How long does it take you to write a book? And what are some of your favorite books
You
of
know,
yours?
of my books, it takes me
Mhm.
a while to write a book. Months, I guess, I suppose.
Mhm.
It
Which isn't a while at all, though.
no,
It's still good.
but it takes me months to write a book. That's why I can never say. Because like we talked about, I don't outline. I don't know when the book is going to end. I just let the story talk to me, and when I feel like it's time, then I'll let it work itself out.
I also think that if I remember correctly, you write books and just hold on to them for a while too.
Well, not yeah. Well, not intent. I don't know. Like
You
Wattpad, I
you
wrote for
write
myself.
and then you'll come back and it'll be like, well, I wrote this last year or this, and it's kind of you let it settle.
I just a lot of it though, like some of it, I used to write for myself. I just started publishing like 4.5 years ago. So all these years from elementary school up into adulthood, I was just most basically writing for myself. My cousins would read my book. I had a
Mhm.
few cousins who would read it, but other than that, like that story on Wattpad, I started on Wattpad, and that's what I wrote the
That
view from
makes,
the bottom on Wattpad.
oh, really? As just chapter
Yeah,
by chapter?
yeah, chapter by chapter,
Wow.
the whole
Were
book I
people
wrote.
following you while you were writing it?
Yeah. Well, I had like 10 followers, but they were like, "Oh, this book is so great. You should publish it." All 10 of my followers. God bless y'all.
You're gonna make me get on Wattpad now, put some little stories. I don't know why. I'm just kind of excited about that.
Yeah, nobody
um,
I wrote I wrote The Magnificent Miss Broadway on Wattpad. These books were all free on Wattpad, like when I first wrote
what? Okay.
them.
We have, hey Janjan, what inspired you to write the Doomsday uh
Doomsday
Parade?
Paper.
But I think you meant papers.
Yeah.
But what inspired you to write that? You kind of talked.
Um, yeah, let me think. What did make me want to write the Doomsday Papers? I can't remember what exactly made me want to write that story, but I do remember it was like one of the fast books I wrote the fastest. I wrote that book in like a couple of months.
Wow.
I was so into that book. That was one of those books I locked myself away with and just wrote away. I have a few books like that.
So now we brought up day one.
Hmm.
Kimberly Dominguez had asked, and we kind of talked about it. You brought it up, but she said, I would like to know, how did day one come about, and what was your inspiration putting this story together? You did bring up that it dealt with climate change, but do you want to kind of break it down a little bit more?
Yeah, it was inspired by climate change. And then I don't know, I wanted to write a story about, she's not older, she's in her 40s. I wouldn't say she's an older woman, but a woman who basically is established in her life. And the story is about her too. It's about her going through some changes and learning how to love, I guess, because she was always in love with her work.
That makes sense.
But this
Yeah.
story is about, how I said I like to write books about growth. And this is another story where people were like, "Oh, I loved her. She was so strong at the beginning, but then she just got so weak. She just turned so weak." Okay, now first of all, we have this lady. Okay, of course she's powerful on the surface world. She's this
Mhm.
powerful actor, and she got, like we said, people who got their shit together. She's brilliant, but she's dropped into this unknown world. She
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
know anything about. You think people are going to hold it together in that situation? These people expect her to hold it together. She can't support. She when she gets there, she is totally dependent for the first time in her life on somebody else to keep her
Yeah.
alive, to take
So
care of
this
her.
is a strong character that
Yeah.
becomes vulnerable.
Yes. Yes. And she's never been in a situation before where she's had to depend on someone else to keep her alive. She didn't know anything about that place. He
So she says, day one was so cool. I was super surprised by the sci-fi nature of the story. What motivated the switch in genre? I felt myself going, ooh, and ah, with the description of the plants and animals.
Well, I write science fiction. Day one, I write Doomsday Papers is a science fiction novel. I write stories, I suppose. I didn't intentionally like try to switch. I don't think.
You just kind of do your flow. You whatever comes to you comes to you.
Right. I write science fiction. I write historical. I write, whatever, modern, contemporary, paranormal. Look at this. This is my medieval story. Butcher of
Christine
Beaumont.
says, I know it explained it. I know it explained it a little in the Butcher of the Beaumont of what the Anatol family is. Can you clarify what exactly that family line is? There was was another clue in day one as well. Not
Right. Well, the Antonovs is family that pop up in a lot of my books.
mhm.
They started in The View from the Bottom.
Okay.
Kind of hinted at a little paranormal, this small little tiny hint, like paintings on the wall that look like people who are still alive.
Oh, I love it, love it, love it. Okay, okay.
Yeah, and I never really, I don't really know what they are either. I guess because I never gave them a label or put them in any category or.
Are they going to continue to come up in books, do you think? Little hints
Uh,
of it.
Probably
Okay.
yes. And I can say that there is a story like about the Antonovs, another story about the Antonovs that I don't want to say I wrote it years ago.
And hasn't been you haven't put it out yet.
No, it hasn't been even looked at. I haven't looked at that story in like 6 years. A lot of this stuff needs to be like rewritten because I wrote it on the fly.
Oh wow, wow, wow. Okay.
Like notebooks.
Well, rough draft going into, and polish it.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Someone asked, and I think you explained this, but let's talk about it a little bit more. Quayla Dave Dawson wanted to know what was the inspiration for The View from the Bottom. You kind of discussed it already, but do you have any more to say about The View from the Bottom? Let me bring that up.
Well, no, I, well, I heard that song and it made me think about the story.
That's
And
right.
this was my first like interracial story, and
Really?
I didn't even know like there was a genre, interracial genre, until I published my book.
Okay.
Because I had never even read like an ebook until I published my book. That's how old
Hmm.
fashioned I am. I have paperbacks and hardback copies everywhere still because I'm old fashioned. I
Wow.
change. But yeah, and I wrote this story, and I just wanted to take two of the most completely opposite characters that I could find and throw them together. And while they were opposite, it turns out that they had more in common than they didn't.
And
You
they
know?
thought, and that
Yeah,
works out. That's beautiful.
right. And it started off. It did start off as a shady situation. He did pick her up outside of a bar, outside of a club,
Ooh, okay. So
and
now, V wants to know what is the hardest book you've ever written.
the hardest book I've ever written. I tell people The View from the Bottom was probably the hardest book I've ever written.
Wow.
Because I myself, like I just like a lot of things I didn't agree with. Like
Okay.
the infidelity and stuff like that. I don't agree with that. I've never somebody, I don't mess with people's husbands or nothing like that.
Hmm.
But I wanted to keep it real. I wanted to keep it honest. Like a lot of people like will have two billionaires bump into each other at work. How often does that happen and we fall in love? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
On some real shit. On some real shit. Let's just keep
That's
it real.
right.
But how no, we get these two people, that just
Yes.
happen to be at the same sleazy club doing the
Okay,
same
okay.
sleazy things. And that's how. And he saw, and how it started was he liked the way she danced. She was there for a contest, and
Hmm.
he liked the way she danced. It was a
Was it a little
stripper
twerking
contest.
in there, little booty movement?
But there's a thing though, she ain't got no booty, so she not. No,
No.
she wasn't no twerker. She was a dancer. But
Okay.
people saw that. She didn't. That was one of the things about her. She didn't have no big old booty. She didn't
Hmm.
have no long, pretty hair. She wasn't the prettiest woman in the room. And I wanted it to be like that. That's why the cover looks like that. I kept sending it back. Nope, nope. She too not dark enough. Nope, her hair not tight enough. Nope,
Yeah,
nope.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Love
And
it.
that's how they meet. And that's how, and he's been in and out of rehab like 7 times. She got kids by,
Ooh.
and you know,
So it was different character. You completely stepped out of your life, obviously, as you usually do, to write the book.
right. And it was uncomfortable. It was hard. And it was
That's good.
hard. Yeah,
Do you like challenges when you write stories?
absolutely. Why are you,
Right,
unless we,
right.
some people, I guess that separates why people do it. Some of us do it
Yeah,
because we love it, and some of us do it because it's a means to pay the bills. And I imagine we want to do both. We want to get to the point to where we can do both.
exactly.
But for me, it's definitely more important for me to leave something that people are going to remember
A
than something.
legacy.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
I
Legacy
like
is
I
important.
like the idea that people are going to have my book on the shelf next to something that's timeless. Maybe something timeless.
And the books, believe it or not, will tell you about this world possibly. Your books may explain stuff.
They
I
do.
mean, and it's
Absolutely.
funny because I wrote Quarantine and Chill. I had seen all these people writing quarantine books, right? And I
Hmm.
know they were like, oh yeah, and guy and huh and fuck, 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 fuck. They're in quarantine. Oh, they're fucking, fuck, fuck. And I really wanted to write a record of the year,
Right.
you know. So I wrote it, and it was a huge book. But like, I remember a lot of reviews are like, "Oh, she took this seriously."
Right.
Yeah, this is serious.
Right. A
This
lot
wasn't just
of times it's not what you write; it's how you write it.
Yes,
That's a
yes,
lot to have to do with it.
yes.
That I don't write tropes. I don't try to, do what I think is popular or what I
Mhm.
think somebody else is doing. That's not, and I know
Because it's
that's
difficult to write a
it's
book
bad for
that way. It's almost, well, okay. It's hard for me to write a book just because um so and so is in right now, or like right now, what's in is reverse harem is big.
Mhm.
I would not know how to write a reverse harem for me at this moment in time.
I
Um,
think I might have. I think I in Jackson Wild. I might have kind of, sort of. I don't know what.
little touched on it.
Yeah, what it like? Is that just like a woman with a few lovers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a woman with a bunch of guys. It's like for me, I respect people who write them because there's a lot of people who are writing reverse harems who love them.
Right.
But I don't personally love them. And so me putting myself to write a reverse harem, that's probably gonna be a garbage ass book. So I'd rather just stay in my lane and write what I like and keep it going.
Right. We get a lot of that. Of people telling us what we should write or what should happen or this or that. I saw some people tear some author's book apart, telling her how they don't want to read about race stuff in their
Oh
realm.
God, yes, yes.
Well, let me just tell you this: if you don't want to read about political shit, if you don't want to read about real shit or none of that
Yeah.
shit, then you definitely don't want to read what the hell I gotta say. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember first starting when in this genre, especially IR, especially 5 years ago. And I remember a couple of notable authors in this genre. I remember reading some of their blog posts and stuff, and it was like, yes, the interracial romance genre, it's not about race, it's not about race differences, cultural differences. It's
It
just that
absolutely is about.
it's like, it's like it just so happens that one person is one color and the other person's that, but it's a regular romance. And I was like, what? I'm not writing that bullshit.
What?
Everybody
People
knows.
wonder about people who would say that because
Yeah.
you've been me and Matthew been together what 10, 11 years now, and it
Hmm.
is definitely race definitely plays a big part.
Apart.
And it does not. Are we like do we obsess over it? No, but does it come up? Absolutely.
Of
At least
course. It would have
absolutely.
to come up. And so tell me,
Especially in environments like now.
oh
I mean,
my God.
more often now that the shit is going on and if you and your old man is not talking about race, then somebody you either like don't he don't like to talk
Yeah.
about it, so you not talking about it, or
It's not a true relationship to me though. If you can't talk about your differences, because I mean that's what's fun, and it's kind of fun to be like, oh, what's that? Well, this is the handkerchief I put on my head at night to go to sleep. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Just little differences.
Our relationship is not. It's more than just an I and an R. Our
Yeah.
relationship is more than that. It's struggles, it's microaggressions, it's everything. It's loving each other when people don't think you should be together.
Hmm.
It's a lot of stuff.
Have you faced and I know we're off book topic now, but it all relates in some way.
Well, it's
Have
okay.
you faced problems? Problems with people with your relationship
Of
from your
course.
family, his family,
I
or
mean,
just
we had
strangers?
our families. I mean, at the beginning, my family was a little bit resistant because he was the first. Like, I was married to a black man for 10 years before I met
Hmm.
Matt. So when I met Matthew, well, I mean, it was a little bit of resistance at the beginning, but no, not like it. But I have seen it. Believe you me, like his, of course, people get mad at him, call him a nigger lover. I've heard him call him
Are
nigger lover.
you joking?
I'm serious. I
Wow,
wouldn't joke about something like that.
that's craziness.
Yeah, well, his people don't like him. When they, trying to be mean to him, first thing they say is nigger lover. Call him a nigger lover.
Whoa, holy shit! In this day and age, we're
And this
still
day,
doing that.
little things like we'll go to Walmart and he'll have like a cartload of shit, electronics, just all
Yeah.
kinds of shit. Hey, have a good day. Here I come with my little bag. Miss, I need to see your receipt. You know,
Oh, really? You didn't ask him for his receipt?
but
Okay.
he'll tell you too, and he'll sit here and tell you that this happens more often than it doesn't. Sometimes we'll test it to see.
Wow.
Yeah, stuff, little micro, like I talk about how sometimes women like will hit on him and not know that because they didn't think we could be standing next
You
to each other.
you standing right next to him, and she like,
Right,
oh, hey, how you like,
right,
bitch?
right. Hey, handsome. Yeah, I'll be right with you, handsome.
No,
I'm like,
girl, bye.
right,
We,
but I don't want to make a scene, right? I don't have to make a scene, He ain't right, but we do. We go through little things like the thing at Walmart. That's one of the microaggressions I talk about. People
yeah.
looking at and people say, "Oh," just like when people tell me, "Well, being with a white man is the same as being with a black man." No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not. It's not the same. Me and my ex-husband, we didn't get the looks that me and Matthew get. We never.
Yeah.
I mean, none of that stuff. No, it's not the same.
What I love, and we're not gonna get too deeply into your relationship. We got to get back to books. But what I love is that how the meeting and the love that y'all have for each other, and also how he met you as a single mother. And he came in and he's just as good to me. Like when we were on a cruise and you would call in and check and he's taking care of the kids and doing stuff. And I was like, that's what I want. That's relationship goals. That's
Yeah.
relationship goals for me right there. Like that's what I want for, as a now single mother, that's what I want. One, for him to help out and to take care of the kids while I go on a cruise. But
Yeah. But you know what though? When I met him, I wasn't looking for him. You know what I mean? I was not. I didn't even like him when we met. We didn't
wow.
like. We didn't like each other at all. He was. I didn't think he was attractive.
And that ends
He
up
was
being the best
right.
relationships though, when y'all end up being together, um
Mm-hmm.
and it's not based on attraction. Do you feel like he just completely supports your writing career? Like he
Oh,
must.
he supports everything about me, even the bad.
Hmm.
Even he's an enabler. Okay, he's.
Okay, 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 okay. Well, y'all gonna be together for a long time now.
Yeah.
Um, so let's get back to this. Christine said, yeah, she's talking about the view from the bottom. Let me pull that up. Yeah, she was
Okay.
dancing to feed her kids for Christmas with her useless, no good sister telling lies all over town. Mm-mm-mm.
Right.
I love all how the books are so raw and nitty gritty. Yes.
Mm-hmm. You
Someone
know
else
what?
said, yeah, that
Going
sister
back to
pissed me
Christine's
off.
question. Well, Christine asked a question about my favorite books. Which one of my books
Mm.
were my favorites of mine?
Okay.
And people will be surprised to say it, but I love The Magnificent Miss Broadway.
Ooh, let me pull that up over here.
I love that
Um,
story. You read a bit of that story on the cruise.
yes, yes. I was just gonna say. And remember, I asked you when I was reading it. I was like, "Are you from the South?" Because you know, everything. I'd actually grown up in the South. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
like the porch, the sleeping out on the porch, the weather, the I could smell it, I could hear. I was engrossed in the South, but you know, this is like what time of period was this? Magnificent Miss Broadway.
Like the early 20s around
Yeah.
that turn of the
So but I was
back
it
in.
was the South, but it was back in the day. Could you tell us?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to tell us a little bit about, for the people who have not read The Magnificent Miss Broadway, tell us what that's about.
I would say that it's a book about a young woman who grows up in the swamp with her father after her mother passes away tragically. Her father kills her. But yeah, and it's just about a life story of her finding love with an unlikely person. Well, she has a best friend and he's Irish. So they're both kind of treated like outsiders for being, I don't know, non-white, I guess. I don't like to keep saying white because it sounds racist, but
Mhm. I get it. I get it.
but you know what? I love that story. I don't know why. It's like people say it's not the best story, maybe not the best story I've ever written, but that's just
Mhm.
I don't know. I just fucking love that story. I do. I can't even.
Awesome. What was your first book? I'm just kind of wondering now. What was the first book you wrote and published? Because I know you've been
It's
writing
the
since
view
like
from the bottom. Right.
The
The view
View
from
from the Bottom was your first published book.
right.
And then your most recently published book was Day One, right?
Yeah.
How much of a transformation have you done from that first book to the recent, to even Fix? How different have you noticed a change in your writing?
Um, I think I get better as I go along.
Okay.
You know, everyone who has room to grow,
Yeah, yeah.
but I think I don't know. For the most part, I keep the same emotion and the same feelings in all the books. But I could feel myself getting better.
Wow.
I suppose it's the writing part. You know, the stories, all the imagination part is all good, but you know, sometimes some of us struggle with the.
I we had some person who said that well, some person was shocked that Trista said nigga lover, where are they? She probably gonna try and fight him right now. Don't hide him, Trista. Somebody said a boyfriend of mine was called a mud shark for being with me. I've never ever heard that.
Oh
What?
yeah, that was one too. But yeah, his thing was nigga lover.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see.
Like people like when they say they don't want to, like it bothers them. And how come everybody in this like they read interracial books and they'll say, well, how come these people are racist? Because people are fucking racist. You want to read about
Hello.
fairy tale, you want it to be like this. And I think that's why a lot of times I tell people this is where your white knight dreams come to die because we don't
Yeah.
have no white knights over here. Okay.
You gotta have a little racial mix in the book. It makes it fun, the conflict, but it also makes you look at, well, why does that person hate them? They hating them because they just in a different skin color and they love each other. That's ridiculous. You know. Uh,
Absolutely.
Someone asked, have you ever started to write a character and it was so emotional and traumatic that you couldn't continue?
Absolutely not. When you push
Mhm.
through them feelings and you push through that pain, that's when I write my best stuff. Is when I'm
Wow.
and when the tears is falling down my face. That's when the magic happens. That's when I
I actually stopped writing a book. It's called All That Matters, and it was kind of about this boy who's getting beat up all the time, and he has the like he can see, the view, those houses where you can see the window into the other person's house.
Right.
And I don't know, for some reason, I just could not finish. It was like him and the neighbor girl were going to fall in love. But I could not finish that. And I had not gone through an abusive childhood, but it was just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Okay, let's move on to this one. Let's see. I have one, couldn't ask for, oh, okay. And she's in an interracial relationship. Couldn't they've been together for over 20 years, couldn't ask for a better man. His downfall is he fucking talk too much.
You want to know something? And let me just tell her, Matthew has the same problem. But it's not just him. It's a cultural thing. Like seriously, I went to a cookout
Oh.
right one time, and they started talking about medical procedures they had done and shit. Just start talking about.
And you like, hey, this is I'm getting too much info right now. Too much info.
Well, no, because we talk about like Pookie going to jail, and we talk.
Oh my God.
We talking about what happened on the show we all watch. We don't sit around and go talk about the colonoscopy we had last week.
So that must have okay. Tristan told us that was Cammy Joe who said, "Okay, Miss Cammy Joe, I hear you." All right. So our next question, our questions are almost done. But here's Angela Huff submitted a question to you. She says, your storylines are all over the place and leads down many rabbit holes. It leads to unanswered questions. But when do you decide to pull back or stop within a story?
I like the beginning of I like the end of my story to be as good as the beginning. I want them to have the same feeling when you read the beginning that you do when you read the end. And so when I feel like it's
Over, it's over.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess when when you can't think of, you're like, this is the end right here.
Right.
It's when it's over. When they're done fucking around in your head, maybe. Do
Right.
they ever stop? Do the characters ever leave you alone? Or are some of the old ones, do they come back?
Sometimes, but I usually when I move on, I usually have moved on.
You're done. When you're done, you're done.
Yeah. But when I sit down and reminisce, like people sometimes ask me, am I going to do a sequel to this book? Want to do a sequel to that book? When I write standalone novels, sometimes you might see another character in one, but yeah.
Christine said this live should be called Interview with the Steampunk Mistress Vampire.
Yeah,
And can you use it like
the things didn't work out. I tried it.
You tried the things. I tried the things. They popped out my mouth. I was like back at it. I was like, girl, what happened to the old things where you just put it in your mouth? They got these new things you got to put glue when you put on your teeth.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gluing those things.
Girl, I was like, then it was like, I was reading the package. It was like, don't drink with hot water. I was like, man, I ain't doing all of this shit right here because I'll be done forget.
Those things, my friend.
Be dying on the live, just choking on things. No. So yes, but I like that idea, Christine. I think it is going to be called Steampunk Mistress Vampire Interview. Let's see. Creep by Radiohead. Yeah, JanJan has been playing music over there, and it's been okay. It's been okay, and I like Radiohead. Was Creep playing in the background?
Yeah,
I didn't hear. I love Radiohead.
Creep. She hears it.
We can all hear it. It's not loud. It's just kind of like a.
Okay.
You know what?
This
From
is
back
the stuff I listen to when I'm writing. Yeah.
I love Radiohead. That's my shit right there.
Me too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It keeps me in the zone though, and it's like, because they're super experimental. They'll be like, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Last question. Is there an order in the way we should read your books?
Well, I guess in order published,
Okay,
maybe.
okay.
Because I
You
mean, you're not going to be lost. You can pick up any one of those books, and you're not going to be lost. It doesn't matter what order you read them in. You're not going to be lost.
Now there's two books that we talked about one book, but there's one book that has not come up at all. That is Sincerious. We haven't talked about that at all. So
Yeah,
tell me about Sincerious.
Sincerious again is another one of my. It's kind of paranormal-ish and urban. It's also a urban. The first half of the book is urban, and that's like a book done in two acts. The first half, and then the second half when she like, I guess I don't want to say enters womanhood, maybe. But it's a story of two loves, her and her two loves.
Okay.
Yeah, she has two loves of her lifetime.
Sincerious. Sincerious is a big ass book, right?
Yeah, it is. It's hefty. It's
Woo!
hefty.
Nice and
It's
thick.
real.
So
It's
now
a huge book.
Christine
I
said that
don't know. I guess because I just remember reading a book and sitting down and getting lost in a story, and just
mm,
and then when you get to the end, you just close it and no.
you just went through a whole freaking journey.
Yeah, you did. I remember those moments, and I kind of want to stay true to that. So like to keep the stories together.
Christine said, "Oh man, everything Sincerious went through made you root for her all the way."
Because she had some mental health issues. In that
Okay.
story, she had some anxiety. She had some stuff going on, some bipolar episodes that ended her
Now,
up in the hospital.
Christine also said that she could answer the question and she could give the proper order of events for reading a Jan for the Jan experience. Christine, if you
Well,
don't mind, could you just pop up all the books you think a person should read if you had the time? I don't want to stress you out or nothing on you, but I'm a little intrigued by what you would say. Start with this and then go with this and go with. I should have put Christine on here too to add in here. Um, so let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, someone else said yes. Sincerious had a lot going on. And then another book we didn't. It was mentioned for a tiny bit, but I didn't. We didn't talk about as much as I would have liked. Jack's Wild. Jack's are Wild. I always think it's Jack's Wild. Jack's are Wild. Tell us a little bit about that.
well, Jackson Wild is it's a paranormal erotic novel about Halima, and she's I guess a kind of a nymphomaniac maybe, and she gets mixed up with this. I don't know if you'd say tribe of vampires, and she really has this thing for the leader, but he really doesn't have a thing for her, and she's determined to have him. And this is her story.
It looks good. It looks
Mm-hmm.
good. I
Yeah,
once again.
you know what? And Jackson Wild was this book I wrote kind of out of spite because people were like, "Oh, the view from the bottom that was just too wild for me." Oh,
Oh, you said,
they were like,
you want to see Raw? Okay, okay.
"Yes, that was my." Yeah. Mhm.
That was a fuck you. A fuck you. Okay, okay.
Not really. I wouldn't say it like that. Um, not exactly.
Not exactly, but well, not fuck you to the people who love you. Fuck you to the
Right,
people who
right,
are like, oh, why can't you write something nicer? You know.
right, right. The people who yeah, those people who show up. Well, this book is just like the last book. Don't even bother to read this book. It's just like the last book. Well, if you didn't like the last one, then you didn't like the second one. Why do you keep reading? No, you're not gonna like it.
Well, somebody said Jack's a Wild was a wild book. Loved it.
It
Chris,
was. The book was violent. It was all kinds of stuff.
where
It
I
was. It was violent. It was a little. It had a little bit sadistic twist going on in there. It was. It
some
was.
somebody said that people should read. People, the few people on here who have not read Jan Jan should try View from the Bottom first. Christine has just put up her recommendation for JanJan books.
Okay.
Christine, I
Okay.
want to tell you, you're going to win a giveaway gift card tonight because you have been on it. Christine and Michelle Flowers, I'm adding y'all. I just had to write y'all name down because y'all have been bringing it and getting me excited. Oh, and Geraldine is up in here from the Swirl Cover. Hello, Miss Geraldine.
Oh, the black
Geraldine is the reason why I even
widow.
know Jan, first of all. And Geraldine was the one who said, read A View from the Bottom first. Okay, Christine said that, let's see. Okay, so Christine put, read The Butcher of Beaumont first, then The Magnificent Miss Broadway, then The View from the Bottom, Sin Serious, Jacks Are Wild, The Bastard and the Bird, The Doomsday Papers, and Day One. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's a good journey right there?
I think it's good. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Christine.
And she said, I wrote the list for the connections in chronological order of events. Christina's on her shit right now, okay? I like all right. So we are at the end. We're at the end, but you know what? I want you to come back, obviously next year to come back so that we can talk about all of the new books because I think by next year you'll have a couple down there. We already know you're going to have this month coming out. Let me pull it up. You're going to have this one, which I love the cover, the reimagining of a bud slave. You told me a date that you were possibly playing with for this month. Do you have a date, do you think?
I'm going to try. I'm going to try for Halloween. I'm going to try for
Halloween.
Halloween. I'm going to
Okay.
try.
All right, that's the goal. Would you come
Most
before
definitely.
Halloween if possible?
Yeah, of course. Of
Now the
course.
next one is Fix. Fix is coming out before Halloween.
Yes.
And when do we see Fix coming out?
A week maybe?
Ooh! All
Week.
right. You have to you never do this. When
Coming soon.
I always say to you, remind me when you put a book out so I can promote and you always forget. You just be in your zone. You're like, I released that book. Now I'm writing something else.
I mean, you know what? Because I have finished Fix. I have finished it. I'm already moved on. You know,
Yeah.
I'm already like knee deep. I wrote up until the time to come onto the show, and then after this, I'll go take this hat and stuff off, and I'll sit down at my
Mhm.
computer and I'll get back
I've got
to the business.
revisions. See, we're workaholics. This is real work. It's Sunday
See,
evening.
but I love it. So it doesn't feel like work to me. You know, like I
Exactly.
don't mind. Yeah.
I mean, my biggest problem, and I've gone to the eye doctor a few times this month and last month. I've gone to the hospital for things, and all of them was saying stress, and I was like, stress? What's the stress? Like they're like, yeah, you're dealing with stress. You need to relax, and I was like, I don't have any stress. I'm living my life. I'm doing my passion. And then it was like, well, maybe not stress. Maybe you're working too much. And I was like, oh, okay, that I am doing. I am working too motherfucking much. So I've had to force myself to stop writing and put timers. Do you have to do that for yourself, or does your family and life kind of force you to stop writing?
Yeah. My family life kind of forces me to stop writing.
What does your typical schedule look like in a regular on a weekday?
Well, we have the kids and their little virtual meetings and whatnot, and I'll set them up. I'll set them up and walk off.
How many kids do you have now in the house? I'm saying because you have an older one, but how many kids do you have in the house homeschooling?
5.
Woo!
Well, the older ones are okay. The only ones I have to really look at is the little one. I have teenagers, and then I have an 8-year-old.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the 8-year-old, I mean, my 9-year-old is a lot now. she
That's like a
needs.
toddler. Having a toddler, okay?
I pretty surprised too because I'm pretty hardcore in my household. I am the queen. We were talking about this, how a lot of people are freaking out with having their kids in the household, and you and I are kind of like, whatever. But we run our household hardcore. Like I don't play, and I can't imagine you having the kids run over you. You have such a strong personality, and you get things done in your motherfucking household. You know.
Does it sound, look, do you hear them? They hear. You know what I mean? They hear.
Just certain things I'm not having a lot of chaos and problems in my motherfucking
Right.
house.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Thank you for coming. Thank you
Oh
for
my
coming.
God. Let me pull up
And
your
thank
book
you for
one more time.
reading my books. Right.
These books are coming out this October. Please look when the books come out. I am going to freaking have them in the group. I am going to try to remember my best to do a
Now
giveaway.
you hear them toward the end. Now they trying to show their face.
I can't even hear them.
Two of them, and they're talking right now.
I want to thank you so much, Jan, for coming in. I've been wanting to have you in here for a minute. I wanted you in July for my birthday, and then I got Corona, and we was like, whatever. I think it was best that you came in on October while you had your books coming out and things like that. So thanks again. I will see you again. We'll see you again on this live next year for sure.
Okay.
2021 new books.
I made it. Look at it. I got comfortable. I'm not nervous
It was
anymore.
relaxed.
Let's go. Yes.
It wasn't
This is
that
so
bad.
fun.
Everybody, this
So
group is
fun.
chill. We don't got no toxicity in this group. No bullshit. It's grown ass
Yes.
females in this group. Professional motherfuckers in this group. So all right,
Yes.
I love you, Miss Jan Jan. I love you, I love you, I love you. And thank you so much for coming in. We will see you later.
Of course. Have a good night.
All righty. Okay, guys. So thank you again for coming in. I'm gonna do a quick update. I talked about this in the group. I went over Dirty Obsessions, which is Misha and Ava, book 5.5. Oh my God, that book is good. That book is so motherfucking good. When I tell you that I put my foot, and I said this again, I put my foot in this book. Like this book I don't say this a lot, but this book is so motherfucking good. It's gonna blow your mind. All right. Now, Seduced by Moonlight, the werewolf book, it's a good book. But like Misha Naval book is so fucking good. Like I was going over the edits and I didn't even need to revise certain chapters and I was just reading them for enjoyment. So yes, that book is coming out. I can't wait. I'm super, super, super excited to put that out. I am hoping for Saturday, Friday. I mean, keeping it real, I could probably put it out tomorrow, but I want a proofreader to go over it one more time. I just don't want there to be nothing getting in the way. I don't want any problems. I want you to, oh my God, like Maxwell and Misha's bromance, Roland and Miss Jones, the sex scenes. There's a whole new group of killers that I haven't introduced into the series. It's just so good. I'm going to be quiet because now I'm going to give away a lot of the book, but it's so good. We're having a damn discussion 2 weeks after this book because I really want to know if it was good as I thought it was. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But please read up on the Misha and Ava first book. If you have not read that, read up on that now. All you got to do, you don't got to read any other book, but read Misha and Ava part 1 if you want to now. But I don't think you need to read it to catch up. But one of my best. I personally think it's top 3 Lion and Mouse books, period. And everyone who has beta read it has now made Misha up there tied with Casimir, and I thought that was big. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about it because ain't nobody asked me to do all of this. Anyway, Seduced by Moonlight is also coming out. Seduced by Moonlight is a good book, but it's just, it was for fun. It was a werewolf romance. I'm just having fun and just being nasty, and got illustrations and stuff. There's a coloring book that will come out with this book, Seduced by Moonlight, because there's a lot of illustrations in it. I had not told anybody that or whatever, but I'm telling y'all that, and it'll be announced eventually. The artist is still finishing up the coloring book. And I'm hoping to give that stuff away too. But yes, I'm excited. And now I don't know what I'm going to write. Maybe I'll do a poll, but I think I should either be working on Lion and Mouse, or I kind of want to do the final book 4 of Chase and Jasmine. I'm just saying that right now because I'm drinking, but I really want to do that. And I've worked on the outline. Anyway, thank you so much for coming in. Looking at questions and nothing really, no questions or anything like that. Okay. Talk to y'all later. Next month, the KW Live will be with the Lunch Chronicles authors. Yes. All of the Lunch Chronicle ladies will be coming in for the KW Live next month. I have been drinking, so I'm going to try and remember if I can think of every author. Sierra London, Posey Parks, Keita Kendrick, Sandra B., L. Lauren. I think that's all 5 so far. So anyway, it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome next month. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming in. I will see you later, and we're going to have a blast.